Hello, everybody. It's me again, and this is module two, if you like, the second part of the training. Now, so we'll have gone over this, just finishing up where I left off last time. And again, you may have noticed I may even have left one or two off, and that's okay because I always have it near me and I can go back to it. This is one of the most important things that we want to get across to the people that we're training. It's okay to make mistakes. There aren't any mistakes, okay? It's okay to leave something off. It's okay to go back to it. And I often tell the story that Bob Burns shared with me, which on a training that I did with him once. And it was once upon a time, there was a little blonde girl. She was called Goldilocks. And she went into the woods and found this little house. And there were three bowls there. And she tried each one. There were three bowls of cornflakes. And the first one didn't have enough milk in, so it was all very crunchy. The next one was really soft and gooey. She added, there was too much milk to it. And the next bowl was just right because there was the little jug next to it and she could pour her own in. Now, what's wrong with that story? Well, we all know it was porridge, okay? It wasn't cornflakes at all. However, just like if somebody had never heard of that story before, they'd go, okay. So just like with all of our clients, they don't know. And same actually with the people you're training. So I want everybody to understand it's all okay. I will often be a little bit sort of like, not crazy, but sort of like, oh, where's this? Where's that? I do that on purpose for my clients. And I want you to explain that as well in the training, that it's okay to be you, be authentic. We don't have to do everything perfectly because so many of our people are seeing us for perfectionist issues. So we don't want to be perfect. If anything, we want to be thoroughly imperfect to show them that it's okay. So I'm not sure that I added in self-harm. Oh, I did. There you go. I did put in self-harming. However, there's loads of different things that you could continue to add on if you find out more about your client. So yeah, this is pretty full actually. Now, what I want to explain after I've done this one, and I explain this to my clients, and then obviously I explain it to the trainers, is that this is the next diagram. And it starts with these triangles. Now, I want everybody to know I got this idea, these triangles from Beryl Comer. I learned them from her. Now, this is the triangle of life, and it starts when we're very first born. Our mind is eager to learn, our body is eager to get going, and our soul is brand new and shiny from Soul World. I then ask them, do you believe in souls? And do train that. It's really important because then you find out more about them, obviously. And if they say no, you can add, well, self. So it's really important to meet the client where they're at. Many clients of ours do believe in souls. It's not for us to tell people to believe in souls. So again, explain that to whoever you're training. And when these all overlap, we get this lovely little bit in here called balance. Balance and harmony. And that is something that we have if we're lucky. I do ask my clients, and so do ask, say this to your trainers, did you get that? Because some people didn't. Not everybody did get balance and harmony. Some people are going, yeah, Christmas, birthdays, play, and that's what I say. I say, so balance and harmony is like Christmas and then birthdays, and there's play in between, and then it's again. And it's usually all before we're 5 years old. So we want to explain that is what balance and harmony is. And we can say to them, if we're seeing the parents, and hopefully your children got that, and they will admittedly, because they're seeing you. I have had parents go, no, they didn't, or they will go, yeah, and you know it's true, because they're so like, yeah, like that, and explain that as well. Now, and then I say, and then we go to school, and no matter what, there is these expectations. Now, I do validate parents where they're at, and I say, well, and as parents, we do all have expectations of our children. We can't help it. We just do. We expect them to brush their teeth, come down when we call them for dinner, do their homework. And we just do. And I think it is important to validate parents and understand that they do have expectations. However, now this is really important, okay? And I really want you to get this over to your trainers. So this bit right now, some parents put on their children, why didn't you make the A star? Why didn't you make honor roll? They passed all their exams. Why didn't you? They made the football team. They made whatever team. And it's, use your own stories if you like. So first of all, what are we doing? We've hooked the parents in by agreeing that, yes, we all have expectations. They're going, yes, okay. However, some parents do this. Now, you're not saying you do this. You may have an inkling that they might, which is why their child might have serious anxiety issues, may have suicidal ideation, just may not be very happy at all, may have depression. I don't know, because a lot of people self-diagnose. However, if you're saying some parents, now it's not them, but you can see their body language. So calibrating all the time with them. Some parents do this, and I do get parents go, oh, yeah, I do that. Oh gosh, or that's what my parents did to me. And yeah, I do it too. Now we know we're getting somewhere again. And you can be quiet then. You can leave that pause. That pause is always important because it helps them reflect. And when there's a pause, they often speak more. So it's that expectations. And then you go, well, and no matter what, it leads to disappointments. Yeah. And that's not very nice. And they're going, and you go, and it leads to this triangle. And that's anger, fear, and guilt. And the anger feeds the fear, and the fear feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the anger, and the fear feeds the anger, and the anger feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the fear. And it goes every which ways. And you say it with as much gusto, you say it with that. And the anger feeds the fear, and the fear feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the anger, and the fear feeds the anger, and the anger feeds the guilt, and the guilt feeds the fear. And now they're like going, yeah, oh. And with some people, I'll say, yeah, that triangle, because you can tell they do. And sometimes you can start getting tears. Sometimes, oh, yeah. And all anger is based in fear. You go the below will always find the fear. And this is when I often say, and again, say this in your training, that fear, it could be fear of not being worthy, not being good enough, being unlovable. So many different fears. And you'll have already got an inkling of their fears. It could be just not worthy, not, as I say, not good enough. And those are so often the most common ones. And then they're going, yeah, that's right. And again, you're getting acknowledgement. And then no matter what, it can lead to guilt. If you are getting angry, because they could be getting angry with their children, now they feel guilty from it. But it's because actually they fear their child being like their dad, or fear them not being able to ever get a job, or fear of this, fear because of whatever's going on in the government. So it just creates this triangle. And most people do know what that's like. That's why they're coming to see us. And I say, so it's my job to get you back to here, balance and harmony as best as I can. Okay. And we do that together. So again, this triangle one is really important. And I would recommend that you get your people, when you've got a 2-day one, to practice this with each other. Because I think this is really important, this one. So do make sure you learn this one particularly well. Now, and I say it's my job to get you back to balance and harmony as best as I can. And we do that together through acceptance. And I say that's acceptance of yourself and acceptance of others. Okay? Acceptance of yourself. You know, we we all have weird little things that we do. In England, we call them foibles. We're just all a little bit, have our quirks. And so it's accepting ourselves for that. And so does everybody else. Okay? Because there is no perfect. And then forgiveness. And I say, now, if that's forgiveness of yourself and forgiveness of others. And then I say, now, forgiveness, that I do encourage forgiveness of yourself. I really do. Forgiveness of others, well, I see a lot of people who have been abused. So who am I to tell you to forgive somebody? I am not going to do that. I will help you feel indifferent towards that thing that somebody may have done to you, so that you can choose to forgive if you want to, because it's your choice to do that. And I always say, because who's in control of you? They go, me. Yeah, because you always have a choice, and it's your choice to forgive somebody if you want to. I am not going to tell you to forgive anybody. I will encourage forgiveness of yourself, and we'll get to that. However, this is what I'm really good at doing. And I write down letting go. And I ring that and I say, that's my job. And that is what you'll be explaining to your people. That's what we do. That's what you're going to teach them how to do. And you will be saying to them, that's what they're going to be saying to their clients. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help you let it go so that you can forgive if you want to, because it's your choice to, because you will feel indifferent towards that thing. And moving on, and I underline it, moving on is your job. That's what you get to do. How does that sound? And you'll always get the client going, great, great. So I want you to train that just as I have said it there, okay? Because moving on is what they get to do. Like I say, there's so many different trainings of me having done this before, and hopefully you've done various trainings already with me, so you all have seen me saying that already. But this one is extremely important for the parents, because it then gets them to take responsibility of what they've done. And I say, I always keep these with me because I refer backwards and forwards from them. All right, so that's that diagram. And I think it is exceptional to helping explain what we're going to do, because we are going to help them let it go. They get to move on, and then it's their choice to forgive. And then that all comes back to, then they can accept themselves, because we're all a little bit weird. Okay, so I'm going to finish that one now. And any questions that you have, put them in the comments below. As I say, I will be watching all of you do these diagrams, and we will make sure that, yeah, that makes sense, as though we are learning, training from you, you're training us, and then that it makes sense with your clients. Okay, so take care. See you on another module. Bye.